Happy, beautiful Friday to everybody out there, and welcome to the show. We are going to be networking with everybody out there right now. We've been sort of talking about so many different things. I have people that have been on my show, my television show, all sorts of things from a few years ago. Some of them have been back from me a few years ago now. So it's going to be really fun. I'm excited about having everybody on today. My first guest has also been on with me once before. I have with me Darlene Waterman, and she's the owner of One Stop Finance. Welcome back to the show. I want you to tell everybody a little bit about, who you are, what you do, and today we're going to be talking about something that probably a lot of people need. If you don't need it, somebody else that you know does. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's great to be back again. I am actually born and raised on Woodbury Island, located in Washington. I moved to Arizona in 2012, and I've been here ever since.
Now, but you own One Stop Finance, and you created something for people. You also do a plethora of things. I have to say that you do. But tell everybody what One Stop Finance is, and why you created it.
I created One Stop after I have a degree in accounting, and something I love doing, but also taxes as well. And as things got on, I started adding. And so One Stop, we do accounting and bookkeeping, credit repair, consultant, taxes, business loans, and then a notary.
Now, today you said that you kind of wanted to focus a little bit on credit repair.
Correct.
And I want to talk about that because just as you said it, everybody in here kind of raised their eyebrows up and said a lot of people need that right now, especially right now. You've had some things happen to you that you want to express out there for people. We're live on Facebook. Hello, everybody out there. So we're live on Facebook, and we're going to be sharing the show later on today. And I want to talk a little bit about that. So I want to talk about let's talk about how you do credit repair, because it's a little different. I want people to understand what you do, because it is quite different than, just going to anybody that can do this kind of thing.
Well, we do more of a compliance base. And I'm going to kind of touch a couple different scenarios out there. So credit repairers, they all have their unique way of how they use things. The credit bureaus have what they call e-Oscar. It's a web-based system that they use. And basically, when you send a letter, they feed it through, and the system kind of tells them what to do. That is the process that we use. It's how we submit the letters and what we do. Either correct, they do it, whether they prefer the dispute or in question to be in front of a human being, because chances are maybe they'll make a mistake, and so something gets through. So every credit repair has their own unique style that they do. Some prefer having some humans, some use the Oscar. I use the Oscar. And we do things in the sense of really just making sure that they're in full compliance.
Right. I think that's really, when I met with you the first time, is what makes it so different. When you say it's under full compliance, will you please tell them what you mean by that?
When we go through, we look at, we're going to make sure that your name's spelled correctly, as it should be. We're going to make sure your birthday is correct. We're going to make sure your address is correct. We're going to go through and make sure everything that is there is accurate to what is reported. I have seen names completely spelled wrong. Well, that's not you. That's gotta go.
If it's spelled wrong, it's not you.
It's not you.
If it's got an E at the end and it doesn't, it's not you.
But even I've seen where the whole last name is not even the same, or the first name to it. And I'll use mine. Mine for several years. I found out I was dead. It reported me as
She said that story the last time.
It was deceased, and I didn't even learn about it until I was actually at a dealership, and they're like, "Yeah, you're dead." Okay,
that's
nice to know, and of course that took time, because I obviously had to prove that I was not dead.
Right. Now that's kind of interesting, isn't it? So here's the point of all of this. Number one is, so easily something could be wrong and you don't even know it. And it's a good idea, I believe, for everybody to check on their credit scores. Even if you've got a good credit score, you should be on top of these things, because there's so much that's really wrong. Like you said, you were dead. People's names are spelled wrong. Not to say that maybe does that really change your score if it is?
Not that part, but part of what you do is we go in and we clean, and we take out the old addresses and the old information. And you know, if you've been divorced or whatever, you don't need your ex on there either, and that kind of stuff. Or the
that's a really good thing not to have them on there for sure.
Roommates, you know what I mean? And then we go through and we start tackling the accounts and the inquiries and the things that are going on.
And you find a lot of things that don't need to be on there or can come off or that you can change or shouldn't be on there for sure. Most of that is a lot.
Right. And states use usually 2 credit bureaus that they are preferred. They prefer using 2. They don't necessarily use 3. So it's not uncommon to look at a credit report, all 3 of them, and see that your auto loan is only on 2 of them and not the 3rd one. Or student loans are only on 2 of them and not. Or you see this student loan amount is high, it's only on this one, but then the other ones are all different. So it literally is, and that's why your credit score fluctuates on the different bureaus of Equifax, TransUnion, and Experience, because not everything is always reported now, across the board on all 3 of them.
When you work with people, you do free consultations.
Correct.
Okay. You work valley-wide. You're A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. And her phone number, I know it's Friday. And, you know, I know you don't really want to think about stuff like this, but we ought to be thinking about it. And I know a lot of people put their heads in the sand, but what a wonderful thing to do if you want your credit scores to be raised. And usually it's something so simple. And even if you don't, you should be looking at it. It should be right. It's your personal it's your information.
Well, especially like now with the holidays and the COVID-19, the scams that are going on right now, Social Security numbers obviously are being used by other people. And you may not even know until a couple months down the line, and then you try to go buy a house or buy a car, and all of a sudden you've got stuff on there that you did not realize was there. So the scams are out there, and which is why it's pretty important. They'll be like every 30 days be watching your credit.
The phone number to call her, it's 480-420-4268. The website is onestopfinance.llc.com. She's licensed, bonded, and insured. And honestly, I really, truly believe that anybody out there, write the number down and put it down and do something about this, especially to have someone who's experienced like you take a look at it. Again, that number is 480-420-4268. Okay, I want to go back into some things before we go to a break real quickly. Again, when you say that this, I want people to understand the difference between you and other people, being that it is that you're working with people in a compliance, with compliance issues for them. It's, or under, how do you say that?
Compliance based.
Compliance based, meaning that you are going to make sure, because it's compliance based, that they are correct, as opposed to you can go to somebody else that does this, but they don't do that. It's not the same.
Well, there's different. I mean, there's a lot of things we would like for it, like the dates that was reported, the date it was charged off, the date, because you will find that they actually will change the date to make it look more fresher on your credit report. So if it was reported, I don't know, a year ago, and you go in and do it, they will actually change that date and make it more look like it happened 6 months ago.
Guys, you know what? It's really not fair, is it? You really should have somebody there who's like you, who is experienced, knows what they're doing, and can help you out, whether it's you or someone that you know. We're going to go to a break. When we come back, we're going to talk further, because I know you have some stories that you want to talk a little bit about with some things that have been going on, scams big time. Again, that phone number, it's 480-420-4268. It's onestopfinance.llc.com. Hang tight. We'll be back in just a minute. We're going to keep on talking here, okay, because we're still on live on Facebook. So a couple of different things that I want to ask you. Different feeling, right? Different feeling, going with a little bit longer one, because you have more time to kind of talk, right?
Yeah.
Now, is there am I getting, I mean, I didn't ask it the same way, but saying that what's the difference between traditional?
No, and that's totally fine.
Okay,
that's
okay.
Fine. You can, like, these are pinpoints. We can go any way.
I think when I come back, I want to talk about some stories, like you said, that you want to talk a little bit about, and then I want to go into the FICO and that kind of stuff. Okay, I think we'll be able to.
And we can in touch with like just the scams, but even like the scams that are going on with the IRS and all those that are popping up.
I'll just say I understand there's some scams coming up, and I think you should say what they are, because I won't know what they are. Okay. Okay. I pretty much have everything. Oh, except to say that you're also on Facebook. Okay. Yeah, I think we're doing okay. Yeah. Bring you back to the old days. Yeah.
Yes.
We've been here for probably a year, and they're so just on the surface of moving, in, because it's a little bit different when you move a radio station.
Yeah, there's a lot.
There's a lot of components. I never expected it to be what it is, but it's so we're still working on a lot of stuff. But we have the cool stuff is we have a new name to the station. It's the Pulse of Arizona. That's the name of it, which is kind of neat. And we have all the billboards. When you're driving along, you'll see KFNX.
Yes.
When you see me, oh, that station. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, that's kind of cool that you see that they're putting a lot into it. You know. What else should we talk about, my friend? Hypnotic One still doing it. Hypnotic One still doing it. Solar Sandy's still doing it. She's on everywhere now. She's from Maine, she came on the show, and now she's everywhere.
That's awesome.
So welcome back, everyone. We are talking with Darlene Waterman, and she's the owner of One Stop Finance. We're talking credit repair. Listen up, everyone, because this is important stuff. I know it's the weekend, but really important for you to listen to this. And if it's not you, tell someone about it. That's what I love about the show so much. It's information. And if write the number down, give her a call, have a free consultation with her. It's 480-420-4268. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. She's valley-wide, licensed, bonded, and insured. And she does. It's a free consultation to find out where you stand. We were talking a little bit at the break, talking on Facebook and everything, that there's a lot of scams going on around out there right now that you want people to know about.
Well, the scams are out there, and of course, there's always the typical one that they call and you owe the IRS taxes or whatever, and if you don't pay, they're going to come and arrest you and the whole thing. Number one thing, IRS never calls you. They actually send you a letter if they're going to audit you or there's something question. They're never going to pick up a phone and call you like that. So usually when they do that, you can quickly respond with, they don't call, they send letters, and how quickly they hang up the phone because they've obviously been caught on the whole situation. Same with collections and stuff like that. They use the tactics, and you have stuff go to collections, which we've all had our lives ripped apart. We've had things happen, but validate the debt. Make them provide validation of the debt. Don't just assume that, oh, I do owe it, because maybe you don't. Maybe it was somebody else using your information, at that time. So you always want to make sure they validate the debt. Just say, great, I'm not validating debt, but I want to see proof of the debt. And it's not uncommon for collections to go, well, I don't have that information.
And then if they don't have that information,
right. Well, that's when you just say, you know what, as soon as you have the information, I'm more than happy you can mail it to me. Because usually what sometimes they do, they have to go back to the original creditor and ask for the information. So, and they do. Scammers use every tactic they can. You're going to get arrested. We're going to garnish you. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. and you have to like just stay calm and ask them questions. I think if you stop and listen, you'll hear things in the background where you know it's like it's just a call center of people just randomly, or obviously the accents are different and stuff like that.
Right.
You know, just be aware. And you know, like I said, seniors are more prime to it because they can be more intimidating than they get to.
Right.
And you know, I would hope as parents and parents that when you're older, you know, you're like, hey, you get a phone call, don't.
You know what we did with my dad? We put stranger danger on his. You know, when we were younger, our kids were young. It came around that it was like that. My children, when they were younger, that was what he did, and that's what I put on his phone. And I feel terrible for the seniors out there because they are targeted.
They are targeted, and they will wipe out their account and be left like homeless or not sure what to do, and that's not.
Right.
It's not okay.
And I'm going to say firsthand, I know somebody who isn't even a senior and just so happened to catch her at a very vulnerable time in her life, and like $14,000 later, and that was not for her something she had, that she lost because she did what they asked her to do, and the next thing you know, she lost a lot of money, and she's worse off than she was, right? So it's really sad.
Yeah, don't give account information over the phone unless you solidly know who it is. Mm-hmm. You know, don't give your debit card information out. You know, just be real cautious to it. And yeah, when you're vulnerable, they're gonna target you, and especially like right now with everything going on, we are vulnerable. We are, you know, not sure what's going on. So of course people are coming out with the scams.
They're coming out of the woodworks. They really are.
They do.
With so many things. So important to really, really, really think about your personal information. But your information also, you have a right to know what it is on there. You have a right to know. And though I have to say this, a lot of people do try and do this kind of things on their own. And I don't think it's really a good idea. And the reason why is because first of all, you are emotionally involved, right? And I think people say too much, right? Or they get themselves in a position where I know people that might even try and talk to a creditor, let's say, and then they end up opening up the whole case again and explain that. That's it's pretty wild. It's how easy it can happen.
Well, you always have to because there are limitations state where they can collect. And if a creditor or collection agency is trying to get you to pay a debt and it's several years old, chances are your statutes are running out and you want to make sure. But the minute you make a payment, even if it's $20 or $10, you now have just reset the statute law. So now they can still keep going.
Right.
So you always want to validate. You want to do your research. You know, numbers come in, whether it's a scam. Do first look up. It's amazing when you take the phone number that comes in and you look it up, what you find out, and then you'll see this.
It's worth it.
You'll see scam. All kinds of. They call you 6, 7.
You can even just put it into Google.
Yeah. Do your research. Right. Whether it's a collection agency, whether it's a phone number, a scam, do your research. You know, check with the IRS. Like all of those scams are out there, and they are with IRS. They're with the police department if they're aware of them. Do your research.
Let's talk about this. Let's talk about people's FICO scores and how they're calculated because, you know, we still have people right now that want to buy homes and things like that. How does that work?
Well, your FICO scores could be from 300 to 850, and that is measured by percentage. So payment history has got a 35% weight on that. Credit utilization has a 30%. Credit history is a 15. Mix of credit between credit cards, retail, that's a 10, and then new accounts play a role as 10%. So all of those play a role in your credit score.
Right, and you know it's so important for people to be listening to this kind of information. Even you had said some people who have not used their credit cards in a while right now, they're closing the accounts for no reason, correct?
Right. With COVID, creditors are being really cautious. They're checking your own credit report, so they're doing soft pulls. And so a couple things have happened. I've got one client, or her credit limits went down, which then makes it look like she's almost maxed out on her credit cards because they lowered her limits to they're closing accounts. And I'll be honest, I had two recently closed and they were paid off. One I just finished paying off, and it's reporting due to me not using it. Not too sure on some of that. I don't make it a habit. I don't max out my credit cards. I keep them under control. One of the accounts was just living space. It's a furniture store. Obviously, you're not buying furniture and stuff like that on a regular basis. So, usually when I use it, I would pretty much max it out, buy it ready, and then get it paid down.
Right.
And literally, I just paid it off. Like a month later, they had it shut down.
And there's reasons why they're doing that right now, and that's why you want to bring this up to people's attention, because with this COVID, they're too worried, right? Mm-hmm. But people are, honestly, the information here is invaluable. Really, honestly, it really is. It's very, is that the right way to put that? I don't remember. But I think it's very important for people to understand how important it is to use someone like you, who is experienced, to make sure that their credit score, it means everything. It could affect you in almost every area of your life, correct?
That is correct.
So, also, real quickly, what is the Metro 2, is it 2.5 point compliance? What is that?
The Metro 2, there's a couple of different. So you got the e-base, Oscar, which is a base system.
Which is what you're talking about.
Right. And then there is the, I can't think right now, credit enhancement, which is like Equifax, Experience, TransUnion, affiliated companies, marketing. So it's just a step in the process of how things come in order to it.
To me, it's whatever you hear here is so important for you to make sure that your credit scores are up to snuff. If they're not, it's okay. That's where you come in. You can help them with that. It could be something where she can come in and find out, some things that can be wiped off, show you how to do to make yourself get a better credit score. Sometimes it takes some time. Sometimes you want to, and right now she said it's important to look at them on a monthly basis.
You want to check them on a monthly and watch what's going on, especially with the holidays and everything going on.
I agree with you 100%. She does free consultation. She's Valley-wide, A+ rated with a Better Business Bureau. She's licensed, bonded, and insured. Check her out on her website. It's onestopfinancellc.com, 480-420-4268.